everybody. Good morning. Good morning. It's great to see you all here on Kennedy Street to celebrate in the start of an investment on Kennedy Street that is going to reap tremendous benefits for the entire neighborhood. I want to thank all of the community members who have taken time out of their morning to be here. Let's hear it for the Ward 4 community. Give them a big round of applause. All of the ANC commissioners who are also here, Commissioner Nancy Roth, David Schoen, also a block captain and neighborhood president, William Hassan, Natalie Snyder, who's president of the Manor Park Civic Association, and also our council members who are here. There are now 2 members of the council from Ward 4. Let me start with the newest, and that is at-large council member Robert White. Give Robert a big round of applause. Where did Robert? There's Robert right there. And your council member who has been fighting really hard for Kennedy Street, not only since he's been on the council, but certainly since he has worked with me for the last 8 years. And I would like to thank Brandon for his focus on Kennedy Street. Councilmember Todd, thank you very much. Let me also acknowledge and thank members of my team who are here, who stay focused on how we can keep the street clean and safe, and on these economic development drivers that will help Kennedy Street succeed. Let me start with the Ddot Director, Leif Dormsjo. Give Leif a big round of applause. And Deputy Mayor Courtney Snowden, who is here, who is the Deputy Mayor for Greater Economic Opportunity. Give Courtney a big round of applause. And somebody who's been with us for a long time in Ward 4 at Ddot, Paul Hoffman. Where did Paul Hoffman go? Thank you. We're also joined by DC Water, and you'll hear a little bit from them about how they are helping with this project. So this is a great day for Kennedy Street that we have been working hard for many, many years. And I'm proud to announce a very significant investment in the streetscape here. We know that Kennedy Street has a rich history, and those of you who have watched Kennedy Street for a long while know that it is a significant fixture in the District of Columbia. It has more than a century of history and heritage. And if you haven't checked out the Kennedy Theater lately, you should definitely stop in. I can't tell you the number of times I've heard people tell me about their experiences having gone to the Kennedy Theater, and after millions of dollars of investment, we have transformed the Kennedy Theater to a place where Ward 4 seniors find nourishment, where they find fellowship with one another, and an ability to meet together as a community. So revitalizing this corridor has certainly been long planned. One of the first things that I did as a council member was gather the government agencies to make sure that we had a revitalization plan for Kennedy Street, something of a small area plan where you pull everybody together and you find ways to see what type of development could happen here. How can the government make policies that would attract development? And that is what the Kennedy Street Revitalization Plan was tasked with. And unlike other small area plans throughout the city, the community said we don't just want the plan, we want an advisory committee to help follow the plan. And that's exactly what they put together. So let me tell you a little bit about this project. It's a total investment of $10 million. And when it's complete in 12 months, I'm told, it will dramatically enhance this major roadway. So we are improving traffic safety at this intersection, Missouri and 2nd Street and Kennedy Street. This should result in a drop in overall crashes at the intersection. We will be adding traffic calming measures as well to enhance pedestrian safety. We will add new sidewalks that include ADA improvements, and the entire street will be equipped with new LED street lighting. And we're going green in the process. We're adding lots of new greenery. The area where we're standing will be converted to a major new green space. The area is getting 3 new parklets where we're planting new trees and adding new artwork. And Ddot and DC Water are developing a demonstration green infrastructure project in the 100 block of Kennedy Street that is just behind you. So we know what streetscape investments have meant on corridors that need investment all across our city, and we know that this one will be very special too. So with that, I want to thank once again and thank both of the council members for making sure we're protecting the investments, the dollars in Kennedy Street, and we're looking for more to come. Councilmember Todd.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, good morning, Ward 4 and Kennedy Street. I really couldn't be more delighted to be here with everyone this morning. I would like to take a moment to thank our mayor because having worked with the mayor on Kennedy Street for the last 8 years, I know that there has not been anyone more resolute and focused in making sure that the government of the District of Columbia delivers for Kennedy Street. So, Mayor Bowser, thank you for delivering for Kennedy Street. We really appreciate it. I would also like to acknowledge our advisory neighborhood commissioners. I see Commissioner Bowser, the mayor acknowledged Commissioner Schoen and Nancy Roth and some of our neighborhood leaders. But a $10 million investment in this corridor is going to make a huge difference. We've already started making some of those investments over the years. We've invested hundreds of millions of dollars in facade and great street improvement opportunities, hundreds of thousands of dollars in clean team to ensure that the corridor is clean and safe. And so I really couldn't be more excited to focus on the revitalization of Kennedy Street. I introduced a bill that will create an advisory committee comprised of government agencies, community agencies, and residents of Ward 4 whose singular focus will be to see the revitalization plan that was shepherded through the D.C. Council in 2008 to fruition. So I'm ready to turn some dirt on this $10 million investment, and we're going to be done in 12 months, as the mayor said, that the Ddot Director said. So thank you, everybody, for being here, and thank you for your commitment to Kennedy Street.
Thanks, Councilmember. Thank you. Councilmember White.
Good morning.
Good morning.
If you know me, you know I love Kennedy Street. This is my neighborhood. Now that we have a Ward 4 mayor, a Ward 4 council member, and a Ward 4 at-large member, and we are committed to getting things done. I want to thank the mayor and Councilmember Todd for their commitment to this corridor. Just days after my primary election, the mayor and I spoke about Kennedy Street. Councilmember Todd and I have spoken about Kennedy Street from the time that he was a Ward 4 staffer to his time as a Ward 4 council member. And I can tell you that you have clear commitment, and I think today reflects that commitment. I also see my first boss, Kevin Williams, the owner of Midtown Barbershop. So this corridor is very much home to me, and I'm so happy that finally the physical appearance of this corridor will reflect the beauty of its neighbors and the neighborhood. I think that we have so much to look forward to. So many people will see Kennedy Street in a new way, and I hope that this revitalization will anchor even more the tenants that have been here for so long and really add so much to our community. So I thank everybody who's come out today. I think the commitment, thank the neighbors for their commitment, the Kennedy Street Development Association, and everybody else who has put so much of their personal time into making sure that we do see investment in this corridor. And Madam Mayor, thank you so much for your commitment here.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you. Thank you. So now I would like to invite the Ddot Director, who is responsible for moving people around Washington, D.C., and he has his hands full, doesn't he? Well, he represented us very well in talking about something that's heavy on my mind, and that is how we are going to make the investments we need in Metro, but also hold Metro accountable for delivering service. When they ask us for more money, and they tell me they're going to ask me for $100 million more than we already give them in the upcoming budget year, we want to make sure that we pay more, that we're getting more, and that we're not getting less, and that is what Leif is doing at Metro for us. Right, Terry? All right, that's what we want to ensure. So bus service, Metro service, sidewalks, trees, and alleys are all part of what Ddot does to keep our city moving, including a focus on how people are walking safely, riding the bus safely in our city, a big project, Vision Zero. So let me invite our director to the podium.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Council members Todd and White. It's great to be here in Ward 4. I'm really excited about our partnership with DC Water. This is the first of many collaborations that I expect the district government to have with DC Water. Many of the techniques and treatments that we use here on Kennedy Street, we will replicate across the city. So there's really some great ingenuity at work here, and we're very proud of that partnership. I do want to focus on safety. That's the primary objective of the department. We really do feel that this project, by addressing some of the turn movements at this intersection here, providing more pedestrian features, high visibility crosswalks, shorter crosswalks so that people can safely get from one side of the street to the other, expanding the width of sidewalks so people can move, and we can ensure that we're ADA compliant. Right now, the sidewalks through this corridor, really just do not support the pedestrian traffic that we have here, and the quality of life, the open spaces that we want to create so that people can convene with their families and friends and really animate this corridor even more than it already is. So this is a great project. We hope that we can execute and give you a high-quality product. We've got a good contractor here. I wanted to recognize them, Capital Paving. The government and the private sector have to work shoulder to shoulder to get these projects done, and Capital Paving is a firm that's been working with the district government for quite some time, and we intend to get this project done and come and have a ribbon cutting. So we got to get the groundbreaking done today and the ribbon cutting done 12 months from now. So with that, I'm going to let the mayor come back up here and introduce our friend from DC Water. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Leif, and thank you, Mayor. On behalf of DC Water, thank you for the opportunity to mark the start of this very important project. My name is Carlton Ray. I'm the director of the Clean Rivers Project, the $2.6 billion program to clean up raw sewage problems here in the Anacostia River, Potomac River, and Rock Creek. Ultimately, we're going to capture over 96% of the combined sewage that's currently going to through all the streams, and over 98% of the overflow that's currently going to the Anacostia River. So, a dramatic improvement that's going to occur with this project, with the overall tunnel system that we've also got going on. In 2009, when George Hawkins became CEO for DC Water, one of his key goals was to include green infrastructure in the overall gray infrastructure program that we initially designed primarily with tunnels. And so after lots of work with the mayor's group and EPA, we finally worked out an arrangement where we included green infrastructure in the Rock Creek area as well as in Potomac, and thus reduced the size of our tunnel system. And ultimately, we're going to capture more with our program, both with the green infrastructure and gray infrastructure. So we're really excited to see this moving forward. And then also even more so is that we're working closely with Ddot on this project. This is one of those ideal situations where the mayor and her vision of improving the Kennedy Street project or Kennedy Street corridor, where we can piggyback with our green infrastructure work with Ddot. So basically, they already got a contractor. We just basically add our project within their project, and ultimately we save the ratepayers for the district and the taxpayers of the district, and ultimately provide a very beautiful green infrastructure project in the Kennedy Street program. So in the Kennedy Street project. So I'd like to acknowledge all the hard work with the mayor, Councilmember Todd and White, and Director Dormsjo, obviously with our General Manager, George Hawkins. Paul Hoffman, I thank you very much. We appreciate working with you. Bethany Bezak, who runs our Green Infrastructure Group, as well as Seth Chard. Thank you so much. And again, DC Water is committed to replicating this cooperation at many other locations throughout the district. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I want to thank all of the business owners on Kennedy Street who have been on Kennedy Street through thick and thin. Where are Kennedy Street businesses? And I want to thank you in advance for your patience. We're going to have a construction project, and so that means a little bit of dust, a little bit of adjustment from time to time as the construction crews are working. And we certainly pledge to communicate and give everybody as much notice as possible while we are going through the construction process. Also, to all the community members are here and council members, we know that we'll be back out in the community talking about an RFP process for a lot that we purchased a few months back on Kennedy Street to talk about how we will develop that proposal, in addition to the investments that we'll be making at 5th and Kennedy Street for housing for our neighbors. So with that, I think, what's next, Leif? We're going to get started? We're going to take any questions. Fantastic. I'm going to take press questions, then I'll take community questions. Yes, Mark.
Mayor Bowser, could I ask you, it was just, I think, about a week ago, just a few blocks from here, we had a double murder,
Yep.
a double homicide. Can you update us on that investigation, and can you tell us what your message is to the communities about public safety in the realm of the homicides here in Woodford?
Well, certainly, we had... there was a question about a double homicide that happened on Kennedy Street a week ago, and generally about public safety. Just last week, Councilmember and I announced two arrests because of some violent events that had happened in the ward earlier in the summer. And I am pleased, actually, that we took a real bad guy off the street. I am also shared with you many concerns about two young people that were affected by crime in our ward very tragically also last week. So we announced two big arrests. On the Kennedy Street issue, what the chief advises... Well, let me just step back on public safety issues. It's been my experience that what happens on Kennedy Street is really a significant barometer for public safety in many surrounding blocks. So we take very seriously beating back any crime that we see. Certainly a homicide, but anything related to robbery or other incidents that we see around Kennedy Street. And it has the chief's, certainly has the chief's attention. We believe that the incident last week that you refer to was a targeted incident, and so far there have not been any arrests. We do believe that people have information that could lead the police to an arrest there, and we are encouraging them to be in contact with the police. Yes. Yes, Mark.
Can I ask the director
Yes.
a question?
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit specifically about how bad it is for pedestrians here? Do you have any data on how many pedestrian injuries, fatalities you've had in this corridor that you hope to reduce?
Well, I don't have the data off the top of my head, but we certainly have major concerns around this intersection right here in terms of side angle collisions, and then just we've with Councilmember Todd and the mayor's office, we've been out here talking to the ANCs and the community leaders, and with pedestrian issues, oftentimes the statistics don't reveal how hazardous the environment is, because there's a lot of near misses, there's a lot of things that go unreported, in the pedestrian space. So we really do rely on quite a bit the local intelligence of a community to help us understand where we need to come in and make some of these improvements. But we do have the statistics. We can get that to you afterwards through Terry Owens.
Let me just say, also, Mark, the question was about what are the pedestrian fatality or pedestrian conflicts data that we have that we will supply. But part of the projects that we're doing are also getting our transportation network ready for the future. And one thing that you heard me say, and that you'll hear the council member say in his State of the Ward address to senior citizens, is there are a lot of seniors in this community that access the CBS behind us and the Kennedy Street Theater behind us, and a lot of people are walking. And if they're not walking now, they may be walking in the future. And so not only is our commitment to Vision Zero ever present in these projects, but also to building an age-friendly DC. And so we are getting our network ready for more and more pedestrian traffic, as well as this being a major bus route. Okay, there was a question here, and then you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Piggybacking on the question about walking down the corridor, there are a number of spots where the sidewalks are especially narrow. You mentioned there are spots where they're not ADA accessible, and that inhibits commerce, people moving up and down the street. And also, if you can't, it's problematic if you can't push a wheelchair down, if you can't get your wheelchair down the corridor. I'm wondering, there's spots where private property owners have claimed with public land. Well, it may not be worth pursuing with single-family homes and private homes. There are also some buildings that, with negligent property owners in particular, I'm thinking of where the city has taken over ownership or management, the vacant lot. I'm thinking of 9th and Kennedy, the burnt-out property on the 900 block. Our city agency is working together to reclaim some of that public property so that we can have, at least in some of those spots, larger sidewalks so we can move a little better. So there.
Are you talking about people's front yards? What do you mean public property?
Yeah, so there's, in the front, along the sidewalk, there's area that's public property, and then there's private property, and in some places the fences come up onto the public property beyond the private property line.
If there is public property, if there is any conflict with the project, then certainly Ddot would work with the property owner to make sure that any public property that's needed for the project is included. But generally, when we do these, and I'm not really aware, and I would have to go back. I don't know if you're aware now, Leif, of any major conflicts with the project in private property or what people may think is private property. So we'll certainly look at that. Generally speaking, however, when Ddot goes to do a project, they don't go to say, hey, we want to take your front yard.
And I wouldn't recommend that for sure. I'm just saying that there are spots with, like the vacant lot, there are spots with negligent property owners where we've heard in the past that they are claiming some of the sidewalk that's really private property as their, that's really public property as their yard, as their private property, and this is a great opportunity if they're redoing the sidewalks to reclaim what's already the city's property. So
sure. So let me talk to you about, you can speak more about widening.
Yeah. So that's a great observation. You may have been on the walk that we had some time ago. So when there are examples of that and there's not like an additional infrastructure problem that would be created by changing that limit, we're going to be doing that. So I think there are some examples, some very good examples where we're going to get a lot more sidewalk width by getting back to the private and public property line. There are, though, some other examples where because of built walls or the slope, it wouldn't make sense because we would have to build a huge retaining wall or something like that, and then it would really kind of interfere with the scale of the project. And then you also have to keep in mind that we can get into the roadway with some bump outs as well, and that creates the additional widths that we want for disabled, elderly, and just the general pedestrian flow. So you're right on point, and we can literally go kind of foot by foot and show you that in our documents. But I think you'll be pleased with what we've done.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Margaret Jackson. I live in the house right here on the corner, and my husband and I have lived there since 1983. I can certainly attest to the amount of traffic that, as you can see, the amount of traffic that's on Missouri Avenue. Just 2 weeks ago, there was a major accident. I have seen so many accidents right here at this corner. I happen to be off today, so I just want to say that I'm proud that this is something that's going to find me.
Good. Thank you. Thank you.
I've been waiting.
You've been waiting. Yes, ma'am. So I'll take 2 more questions. Her statement was, thank you, Commissioner, but she lives on this corner. She's witnessed a lot of traffic and a lot of accidents, and she's very proud to be here today. She happened to be off to see this project get started. Yes.
I've been here since 1955, when I was a very little girl. And I don't believe there's been any investment on Kennedy Street in all that time. So I wanted to say this is great. But secondly, the traffic on North Capitol and Kennedy is unbelievable. So I hope that we will get updates on the status of plans to improve the traffic flow at North Capitol, Longfellow, and Kennedy. We need cameras. We need some devices to help to monitor the traffic, because we've had some serious accidents right in that block. Thank you.
That is one, and Leif, you may, I'm sure you know that this is one of the intersection you're referring to, Lenora, is on our most dangerous intersections list. There are a lot of traffic accidents there, and it would require, I think, ultimately a major engineering change to how the intersection works. So we will have to get back with you in an update. So let me take a couple more. Yes, ma'am.
And my question is, for this project, will there be any artistic sculptures or paintings? And if there will be, is there a way that we can partner with the youth or children that go to school around here to create a mural, something to engage the youth with an artistic approach to this project?
Well, I think I mentioned earlier that the parklets would include trees and artwork. So generally, Leif, can you talk in general about how we approach artwork there?
Yeah, that's a great question. We are going to definitely invite the participation of the community with some of the branding attributes of the project. That's something that our team has already anticipated. So this is the time to really start to have those discussions, because the heavy kind of civil construction work will occur in the front end, but then when we come in and put those kind of aesthetic attributes into the project, that will be on the latter part of the project. So now's the time to talk that through. So it's up to the street furniture, some of the signage. There's a playable art location that's been already designated by the Office of Planning. That's another opportunity. And then I think Carlton as well. Do you want to talk about? They're doing some interesting things as well on their segments. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes. So again, I'm Carlton Ray with DC Water. We have some artwork right here at the beginning of the project that highlights the watersheds that will basically act as traffic calming as you come to this corridor, as well as to see the art associated with the watershed. So there's some beautiful work that's going to be coming down the pike here.
Okay, last question.
My name is Muriel Bowser. I'm a business owner of Capital Construction. I just want to say thank you to you and to Councilmember and to Evoke, which is one of the nonprofits here that are actually sharing the jobs with us, with the small community in the District of Columbia workforce. We have a little piece of the job here on Third and Kennedy, and we thank you very much. The small community is pleased that we get to look at it as an investment, and we are going forward.
Okay, very good. Thank you for being here. So just so everybody knows, you can come up and see the long list of very specific things that are going to be happening as part of this project. including placemaking, 69,000 square feet of brick paver sidewalks, including granite curbs along the lengths of the sidewalks, repaired wheelchair ramps, replacement of 25 light poles, 60 new bike lockers, 8 new litter baskets in addition to the ones that are there, 20 new park benches, and 112 new trees. I could go on to talk about the green infrastructure elements and the total cost of the project, but this is a very good summary. So I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you.